Hey guys and gals, it's your buddy Drew with Living History's Mysteries and Ferocious Feline Productions. It's December again, and as with recent past years, we are going to do our Adopt a Family program for Christmas again. I have worked with local individuals to help me find 3 potential families that could possibly use help. They have fallen on hard times, not of their own doing, but usually it is a medical problem or something that's put the main breadwinner out of work, and they all have kids under the age of 12. And I think not only does it help to promote the channel, but it also helps a family in need. So we're taking donations on our PayPal right down here. Of course, there'll be a link also in the description, so we can help these families out and spread a little bit of Christmas spirit and Christmas joy. It's what it's all about. You never pass up a chance to do something good, because the good that you put out in the universe finds a way of coming back to you. That's it. Let's make this Christmas special. Y'all take care. Time travel. For over a century, people have discussed the possibility of moving forwards and backwards in time. Is it possible? Today, we're going to take a look at the possibility and the science behind time travel, and we're going to take a look at a couple cases from history where people discuss the possibility that it's already happened. Check this out. This is good.
Imagine stepping into a machine, twisting a dial, and being whisked away to another era. Perhaps you'd witness historical events firsthand, or meet your ancestors. Maybe you'd even try to change the past, for better or worse. Time travel has captivated our imaginations for centuries. It's a staple of science fiction, from H.G. Wells's The Time Machine to countless movies and TV shows. But could this fantastical concept ever be more than just a product of our imagination? Could we actually build a time machine and journey through time? The very notion of time travel challenges our understanding of the universe. We experience time as a linear progression, always moving forward. But what if time is not as straightforward as we perceive it to be? What if it's possible to bend, twist, or even break free from its seemingly unyielding grip? The quest to answer these questions leads us on a fascinating journey into the realm of physics, where the boundaries between science fiction and reality begin to blur. Science fiction writers have long embraced the concept of time travel, using it as a plot device to explore alternate histories, paradoxes, and the consequences of tampering with the past. From the Doctor's iconic TARDIS in Doctor Who to the time-traveling DeLorean in Back to the Future, these fictional portrayals often take creative liberties with the laws of physics. In these stories, time travel is often depicted as a simple jump from one point in time to another, with characters effortlessly navigating the annals of history. However, the reality, as physicists understand it, is likely far more complex. Time travel, if possible at all, would involve intricate manipulations of space-time, the very fabric of our universe. While fiction can freely bend the rules of reality, true time travel would require a deep understanding and mastery of the fundamental laws that govern the cosmos. Our journey to unravel the mysteries of time travel begins with Albert Einstein, whose groundbreaking theories of relativity revolutionized our understanding of space and time. Before Einstein, physicists viewed time as absolute and unchanging, ticking away at the same rate for everyone everywhere. Einstein shattered this notion, demonstrating that time is not a universal constant, but rather a relative concept, intricately intertwined with space. Imagine space as a vast, flexible sheet and time as another dimension woven into its fabric. Massive objects like stars and planets create warps and curves in this space-time fabric, much like a bowling ball placed on a trampoline. These curves, according to Einstein, are what we experience as gravity. Furthermore, Einstein's theories revealed that time itself is affected by gravity and motion. The stronger the gravitational pull, or the faster an object moves, the slower time passes for that object relative to a stationary observer. This mind-bending concept, known as time dilation, forms the foundation for the possibility of time travel. Time dilation, a consequence of Einstein's relativity, challenges our understanding of time. One of the most famous illustrations is the twin paradox. Imagine two identical twins. One twin embarks on a space voyage at high speed, while the other remains on Earth. The traveling twin would age less than their Earth-bound sibling. Time dilation has real-world implications, like in GPS satellites. GPS systems must account for this time difference to maintain accuracy. The concept of time dilation offers a tantalizing glimpse into the possibility of time travel, particularly traveling to the future. If we could somehow accelerate ourselves or a spacecraft to a significant fraction of the speed of light, time would slow down for us relative to those on Earth. Upon returning from our high-speed voyage, we would effectively have traveled into the future, as more time would have passed on Earth than we experienced. Alternatively, we could venture close to an object with immense gravity, such as a black hole. The intense gravitational pull near a black hole would cause time to slow down significantly for us compared to observers farther away. Spending time near a black hole and then returning to normal space-time would be akin to traveling into the future. While these methods of time travel to the future are theoretically possible, they remain technologically challenging. Achieving the necessary speeds or navigating the extreme environments near black holes is beyond our current capabilities. While traveling to the future aligns with our current understanding of physics, journeying to the past presents far greater challenges. The laws of physics, as we currently understand them, do not explicitly forbid backward time travel, but they do impose significant constraints. One of the main obstacles is the issue of causality, the fundamental principle that cause must precede effect. If backward time travel were possible, it could potentially create paradoxes that violate causality. For example, imagine traveling back in time and accidentally causing an event that prevents your own birth. This paradox, known as the grandfather paradox, highlights the logical inconsistencies that arise when considering backward time travel.
Now, it's important to know that scientists have already proven that approaching light speed is possible. This was proven with the Hadron Collider when it got a subatomic particle to move the equivalency of over half the speed of light. Now, when it comes to the disruption of a timeline, much like in the first of the new Star Trek films, with the Kelvin timeline being created, you don't disrupt the timeline that already exists, because it already exists. You cause branches to come off of the main timeline. So you never disrupt the timeline that already exists. You just create offshoots of that timeline.
Physicists have proposed various solutions to these paradoxes, but they often involve complex and speculative concepts that push the boundaries of our current understanding. One of the most intriguing theoretical concepts related to backward time travel is the idea of closed time-like curves. These are hypothetical paths through space-time that loop back on themselves, allowing an object to travel back in time and potentially interact with its past self. Closed time-like curves arise as solutions to Einstein's equations of general relativity under specific conditions. However, the existence of closed time-like curves remains purely theoretical. There is no observational evidence to support their existence, and creating them artificially would likely require manipulating gravitational fields on a scale that is currently unimaginable. Furthermore, even if closed time-like curves do exist, navigating them without encountering paradoxes or disrupting the fabric of reality would be a monumental challenge. Another theoretical concept that has captured the imagination of science fiction writers and physicists alike is the wormhole. Wormholes are hypothetical tunnels that connect two distant points in space-time, potentially allowing for faster-than-light travel and even time travel. The idea of wormholes arises from Einstein's theory of general relativity, which allows for the possibility of shortcuts through the fabric of space-time. However, like closed time-like curves, wormholes remain purely hypothetical. Their existence has not been confirmed, and even if they do exist, they are likely incredibly unstable and short-lived. Maintaining a wormhole open for travel would require exotic forms of matter with negative energy density, a concept that is theoretically possible but has never been observed. While relativity grapples with the large-scale structure of the universe, quantum mechanics, the theory governing the subatomic world, introduces even more bizarre and counterintuitive concepts that could have implications for time travel. One such concept is retrocausality, the idea that an effect can precede its cause. In the quantum realm, events often occur in a probabilistic manner, with multiple outcomes possible until a measurement is made. Some interpretations of quantum mechanics suggest that this probabilistic nature could extend to time itself, allowing for the possibility of retrocausality. However, retrocausality remains a highly debated topic within the physics community. Its implications for time travel, if any, are far from clear. The quest to understand time travel highlights the vast uncharted territories that lie at the frontiers of physics. Our current theories, while incredibly successful in explaining a wide range of phenomena, are likely incomplete. New discoveries and theoretical breakthroughs may one day unlock the secrets of time travel, or they may reveal that some doors are meant to remain closed. Despite the challenges, the pursuit of understanding time travel pushes the boundaries of human knowledge and inspires us to confront fundamental questions about the nature of time, causality, and the fabric of reality.
In 1950, a man with mutton chop sideburns and Victorian-era clothing popped up in Times Square. Witnesses said he looked startled, and then a minute later, he was hit by a car and killed. The officials at the morgue searching his body found the following items in his pockets: a copper token for a beer worth 5 cents, bearing the name of a saloon which was unknown even to older residents of the area. A bill for the care of a horse and the washing of a carriage drawn by a livery stable on Lexington Avenue that was not listed in any address book. About $70 in old banknotes, business cards with the name Rudolph Fenns and an address on Fifth Avenue. And finally, a letter sent from a Philadelphia address dated June 1876. None of these objects showed any signs of aging. Captain Hubert V. Rim of the NYPD's Missing Persons Department tried using this information to identify the man. He found that the address on Fifth Avenue was part of a business. Its current owner did not know Rudolph Fenns. Fenns' name was not listed in the address book. His fingerprints were not recorded anywhere, and no one had reported him missing. Rim continued the investigation and finally found a Rudolph Fenns Jr. in a telephone book from 1939. Rim spoke to the residents of the apartment building where Fenns Jr. had lived, and they described him as a man of about 60 years who had worked nearby. After his retirement, he moved to an unknown location in 1940. Contacting the bank, Rim was told that Fenns Jr. died 5 years before, but his widow was still alive and lived in Florida. Rim contacted her and learned that her husband's father had disappeared in 1876, aged 29. He had left the house for an evening walk and never returned. The story was published a number of times in the 70s and 80s as fact, until 2000, after the Spanish magazine Masala published a representation of the events as a factual report. Folklore researcher Chris Aubeck investigated the description to check the veracity. His research led to the conclusion that the people and events of the story were all fictional, and wasn't able to find the story's original source. Pastor George Murphy claimed in 2002 that the original source was from either a 1952 Robert Heinlein science fiction anthology entitled Tomorrow, the Stars, or a September 1951 publication in Collier's magazine titled I'm Scared, and authored by renowned science fiction writer Jack Finney. With the facts at hand, it appeared the story was nothing more than published entertainment. So everyone thought. No copies of the story have ever been found, and Finney died before he could be questioned. In 2007, a researcher working for the Berlin News Archive found a newspaper story from April 1951 reporting the Fenns incident. This newspaper archive was printed some 5 months before either Heinlein or Finney released their work. What's even more compelling, a number of researchers have claimed to have found evidence of the real 29-year-old Rudolph Fenns and proof of his disappearance in 1876.
On April 23, 2006, in the city of Kyiv, Ukraine, a man in his 20s was seen acting confused and anxious, staring at a tall apartment building. He approached the police asking for directions to a place that no longer existed. This scared young man, who didn't know where he was wearing old-fashioned clothes. When the police asked him for his ID, he handed it to them. And the first thing they noticed was that it was issued from a country that no longer existed as such. It was the Soviet Union. Ukraine had, of course, been part of the Soviet Union in the past, but the Soviet Union had dissolved almost a couple of decades earlier at that point. The police just didn't often see such IDs anymore, especially from young people. Yet this man, who looked like he was in his 20s, had an ID stating that his birth date was the year 1932, and he matched the photo in the ID. Something didn't add up. When they asked him what day he thought it was, he answered, April 23rd, 1958. That's when the police decided to take him to a, let's say, safe place, where he could speak to a nice doctor. Sergei, as the man was called, ended up in the care of Dr. Pablo Kutrikov. So the doctor played along the whole time and asked Sergei if he could remember how he wound up in 2006, even though he thought it was 1958. Sergei explained,
It was daytime. I wanted to go for a walk in city. I took my camera. But when I left my house, I saw a strange object that had bell shape, and it was flying strange way. It's difficult to explain what I seen. It might be better to look at photos I took with camera.
Dr. Kutrikov, curious, got hold of Sergei's camera. The first thing he noticed was an old, rare Yashica Flex camera, and the doctor, who had some knowledge of photography, recognized it immediately as an antique. The camera used a type of film that hadn't been manufactured since the 1970s. Dr. Kutrikov called in a photography expert named Vadim Poizner, who took the film out and was able to see from the information on the reel that it was made in 1956 and that it was new, in perfect condition. Poizner revealed the film, and at that point, things got even more strange. When the roll was developed, the photos revealed scenes of Kiev, but clearly from a long time ago. Everything from the cars to the clothes and street signs was from the 1950s. There were even photos of buildings that no longer existed. Among the pictures was Sergei with his girlfriend at the time, wearing the same clothes he had been found in. The final photo on the reel showed a bell-shaped UFO, just as Sergei had described. When asked about the UFO photo, Sergei responded,
Now are you convinced I'm telling truth? I still don't understand what object was, or how something like this happened to me. When I looked down at my camera, suddenly I was in this year.
Dr. Kutrikov, being a scientifically minded man, hypothesized that if this was some sort of alien spacecraft, it might have transported Sergei across the universe at the speed of light, and due to Einstein's theory of relativity, Sergei would have experienced time dilation, meaning that time would have barely passed for him, while on Earth, 47 years would have gone by. That night, Sergei returned to his room, closed the door, and was never seen again. The hospital's security cameras captured him entering the room, but there was no footage of him leaving. The room had only one exit, and it was under constant surveillance. The windows had bars, so there was no way for him to escape without being noticed. Sergei had vanished, leaving behind his camera, his photographs, and a mystery to solve. The police later investigated and found that there had indeed been a man named Sergei Panamarenko, who was declared missing in Kiev in 1960. They even tracked down his former girlfriend, now in her mid-70s by the time of the investigation. She confirmed that Sergei had disappeared in 1958, but returned a few days later, the exact amount of time he had spent in 2006. However, she also said that he disappeared again in the 1970s, but this time, never to be seen again. Years after he vanished for the second time, Sergei's girlfriend received a strange photo in the mail. It was from Sergei, and according to the note he left, the photo was taken in 2050. The picture showed an older Sergei with a mustache, standing in front of a futuristic Kiev skyline filled with skyscrapers. He also wrote that he would be back soon, but that never happened. Sergei Panamarenko's case has become one of the most well-documented stories of time travel in history.
In 1995, a curious fellow by the name of Mike Markham attempted to build a time machine in the porchway of his home in Stanberry, Missouri. His invention consisted of a mysterious machine with inner workings he had concocted in his mind, all centered around an electrical Jacob's ladder. His device used a modified compact disc laser, which reduced air resistance between the two poles, although it included an unusual arc when turning on the device. There was a heat anomaly created, appearing in a circular vortex-like form. After documenting this, he decided to throw a small metal screw at the anomaly to see the effect. He claims that he witnessed the object disappear for about a half a second, then reappeared a few meters away. With the help of donations, his next project was to make a larger, more powerful machine, one capable of allowing himself to attempt a plunge into the anomaly himself. While the original engine ran at a kilowatt, this machine was designed for 3 megawatts. Also, Markham installed a rotating magnetic field, similar to those used by the U.S. military in the Philadelphia experiment. He believed that the rotating magnetic field was more effective and efficient. His undertakings predictably gained public notoriety, and he had appeared in the media discussing his invention and indeed intentions. Art Bell had Mike on twice. In the later interview, Markham claimed to be experimenting with a more sophisticated machine, going on to state that the electromagnetic vortex was now big enough for a man to walk into. Then, in 1997, he disappeared and was never seen again. Interestingly, people who have been fascinated by this story, its series of events, and Mike himself, dug into death records and finds that could have been connected to him, indeed traveling through time, specifically into the past. One in particular was a find made in the 1930s. A man was found on a Florida beach, crushed to death and surrounded by a strange, futuristic-looking metal device.
Welcome back. So is time travel possible? Has it already occurred in the world? But it's one of those best kept secrets that only the right people know about? What about those stories from the past? The man in New York, the man in the Ukraine. There's many more stories out there. The whole idea behind time travel is it science fiction? Is it the works of a creative mind? Can't help but wonder when it comes to the physics and the science behind time travel. The possibility. If you could go back in time, if you could go forward in time, how would you use it? Would you use it to correct the errors in history? Or would you use it for self-benefit? Again, the possibilities are endless. It all depends on the individual that has the technology. But that's all we got for you today. I hope you guys enjoyed this look at time travel and a couple historic cases where a lot of people believe it's already happened. Until next time, take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. God bless you. God love you. We do. We'll see you in history.